Welcome to the motherfucking tape. Big light a blunt and enjoy it. Swag me out, bitch.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Mooncast. This is the first Mooncast I have done, which hopefully will be a weekly thing. And I'm going to start both of the VOD, the VODs are probably going to be on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/stay and at YouTube. Our first host, as you probably read in the title, is a dear friend of mine and also a great player, so I thought we'd kick off with someone who I'm familiar with, so let's get right on to the show. Hello there.
Hello.
Who is this? Go ahead and introduce yourself for the people who don't know you.
Oh man, I'm Eason Ephi. Not much more to say about that. I play Brawlhalla. I'm pretty good at it. I've known... What do we even call you? Do we call you Moon? Do we call you Koo? Do we call you Stay?
You call me Koo. People call me Koo.
Koo, alright. We've known Koo for a little while now. He likes to bother me in PMs, asking me to do silly podcasts. No, I'm kidding. I'm happy to be here. I hope everyone's doing well.
Alright, thank you so much for accepting, first and foremost. And while we're doing this, we're going to be sparring here a little bit. But yeah, so... First question...
Try hard.
Yeah, a little try hard with the series.
Picking a character.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and play random. I just picked something, you know me. So alright, the first question I wanted to ask you is, how'd you get introduced into Brawlhalla?
Ooh, straight into it. Let me think. It was so long ago now. It's been what, like a year and a half?
Yeah, I think you've been playing this game for quite a while.
Yeah, I still feel like the newbie because all the other guys who were good were there like during beta, and I got in around December, November 2015, and I think I found it. Oop, sorry. As you know, I've been ill. I'm just recovering from a cold, but shouldn't be too much of a problem. I had a couple of friends who played the game, like super casuals, who didn't know anything about fighting games. I mean, at the time, I was playing Smash, right? But there is a Smash scene in London, where I'm from, but getting out to travel, like, to events all the time was getting quite tiresome. Like, everything was quite far spread out. So I was looking for something smaller. I was playing Rivals of Aether at the time, but that has netcode issues, and it's just altogether, like, found Brawlhalla. It was free. It was fun. I was like, oh, I'm going to try and get good at this, and here I am.
That's great, man. So, like, are you happy that you made the transition, like, between Brawl and Smash, and was it really hard?
For me, it wasn't very hard, no. I think it really differs, like, person by person. But, yeah, I'm happy I made the change. It's great. I mean, Smash can be pretty... Brawlhalla is what it offers this level of accessibility where you can get into it. You can be no one. Yeah, I feel like Smash is quite hard to get into nowadays. Like, there's a lot of things to learn, like particulars, really hard like tech skill, you know, mechanics and stuff. And it was really fun to just pick up something new and start, you know, start playing it. But also when I started getting better at it, the meta, you know, was completely undeveloped. So it was fun to do my part in developing that, you know, discovering things like X pivots and stuff like that. So I think that's been my favorite part of the Switch, and what's made it most worth it is pushing the meta of Brawlhalla.
Great. So, what do you think of the development of the esports scene for Brawlhalla? Because, you know, Foda and all the guys at BMG, they've really been putting a lot of work, you know, promoting it on Twitch, going to big tournaments. So what are your thoughts on those? You being a EU guy, it's not that easy to access these big lands.
No, it's not. But thanks to Reason Gaming, it's not like they cover the funds for my trip, so it's no issue. That aside, though, just the growth of the esports scene in general, you know, that's a big question. I feel like everyone is excited by it. Everyone is really excited by the fact that Brawlhalla is going to be an esport, and it is. You know, it's doing well. We have 100k prize pool lined up for. Ooh, nice read. We have 100k prize pool lined up for this November at the second World Championships. But I think it's important to remember that this is early days. You know, like this, we're still in beta. The game has a lot further to go, and I think that's one of the things to like. Yeah, like get hyped now. There's big tournaments now, but it's important to remember that we're not like there yet. There's a lot of improvements to make with the game. With the community needs to, I think, adjust and mature in some cases. Getting used to this kind of thing. I'm really happy, you know, as a player, competitive player. I couldn't be more happy that I think, like personally, I believe esports is going to do well. Can only get better. Will only get better. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited as everyone else, but at the same time, I know that this is still early days. We've got to be patient with it.
Alright, so getting into the competitive community, do you feel like it's easier or easy and you feel like accepted, or you think there's like it's hard to make a name for yourself? You know, it is a free game, so there's bound to be a lot of players, and you know, you made a name for yourself quite quickly. You know, with the addition of Scythe, you just even made it a bigger name. You know, you just went ham on the Winter Championship.
Thank you very much. So I think this is actually a really interesting question, right? But I suppose I should probably be keeping it shorter. I think it depends all about, like, Brawlhalla gets patched often, right? Very often. I think your name starts to be passed around when you're there for longer than one patch cycle. So let's say before chain dodging is introduced, let's say chase dodging hasn't even been introduced yet. You know, we're 8 months ago, however long it was, and you're doing well in tournaments. Okay, anyone can do well in tournaments for 1 month, but when the game completely changes and you're still there, people notice that. They may not notice that they notice it, but that's sort of what makes you a house name, is when the game changes and you stay at the top.
Nice, dude, nice. I agree with that, you know. The game changes, but you prove to be consistent over time. You know, one of the first sponsorships was probably Reason Gaming. One of the first esports organizations that really took Brawlhalla.
To hop in, yeah. Thank you so much for just making the investment.
Yeah, I appreciate it too. You know, I'm a part of the community too. You know, if no one helps us out, you know. Oh, yeah. We get to see the Scythe God himself here.
Let's go. I just got off a 4-hour stream. If anyone's wondering, my voice is a bit hoarse.
So further things. How do you think is the state of the game? Like overall, are you happy with the things? Here we go. He's heating up now.
No, I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to try and be fair. I don't like the state of the game at the moment. I think everyone knows that the competitive state of the game is pretty poor. Chain dodging is quite a contentious issue. Everyone's got their complaints. I think a large majority of people recognize there is an issue. Now, I don't have the solution, right? The solution is not easy to find because Brawlhalla's, like BMG, constantly have to walk this balance between accessibility, you know, keeping the game easy to play so that people can hop into it and people can just have fun, but also balancing it so it's well designed as an esport, you know, as a mode of competition. Sorry, and that's tough, right? So props to BMG for believing that it can be done, for making me believe that it can be done, and for continually working like the butts off to make it happen. But that being said, like that's my disclaimer gone. Game state's not too great. Chain dodging has been pretty dominant, you know. any player of any level, doesn't matter how good you are, how bad you are, more importantly, can run forward for X number of frames, you know, like 30 frames, and become invulnerable for 50 seconds, and there's no counterplay. It causes a complete pause in the game. I think there's the good side of it is that visually it doesn't look that bad. Visually for the spectator, and this is something that's probably one of the reasons why it was introduced in the first place, it has added more to the game from a spectator standpoint. There's lots more action and movement, but when you actually play at a high level, you begin to realize that, yeah, there's all this movement, but both players are completely invulnerable. There's no interaction whatsoever. They're just moving close to each other, and that's not aggressive. That's not, like, nothing's actually happened. That's not improved the rate of play. It's just made it so that something happens on the screen while people wait for something to happen. Like, so visually it's gotten better, but chain dodging is pretty bad mechanic at the moment. It needs work, and I'm sure, I mean, today's patch day, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some test features coming in. So stay positive.
Yeah, other than chain dodging, you're pretty happy with the game overall?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I think things of, like, weapon balance is I know I was looking at the Reddit post, there's loads of questions about weapon balance.
Yeah, I was about to jump into those, you know.
Yeah, cool, yeah, well, we can sort of bridge over to that then. Weapon balance, I think, is pretty good. It's the mechanics that are the issue at the moment. Chain dodging impacts weapon balance. If you take chain dodging away, the weapons that are strong and the weapons that are weak changes completely. So I'm very cautious to say, oh, nerf this weapon, buff this weapon, because the game's not going to be like this. It can't stay how it is right now. We change chain dodging, then we see. But as for people, like, I see a lot of people asking me, like, oh, is Scythe overpowered? Yes, of course, Scythe is overpowered. Oh, Katars are overpowered. Oh, Rocket Lance. Like, there's so many people who vocalize these opinions that they genuinely, truly believe. And I'm sorry, guys, it's ridiculous. You know, like, no one has any clue what they're talking about.
Yeah. I always think, like, when I see a Reddit post, you always see that one guy who says, you know, Scythe is overpowered, and you go ahead and ask him, what's overpowered about Scythe? And he's like, the weapon is overpowered.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let me bounce this one back to you. I'm gonna let you answer it, right? And then I'm gonna tear your answer to pieces. No. Honestly, let's go on. What do you think about weapon fronts currently? Do you think anything's overpowered?
It's hard to know if something's overpowered, but some things feel like they're stronger than it should be. Not to a point where it's game breaking. You know, a lot of people complain about the Scythe recovery. A lot of people complaining about the Blaster's damage buildup. Some people complain about, you know, Lance, which is, in my opinion, one of the worst weapons on high level, because he gets punished for everything you do. But some people complain about that. But in my opinion, the game is pretty good, and everything has a counterplay to it. If I had to complain about one thing, it'd probably be Scythe recovery, since it did get nerfed, but if you want to recover, people say it's short, so it's fair. You just throw your Scythe away, and the force on it is pretty ridiculous.
Alright, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. I would say, like, I agree, actually. I think you actually made, like, pretty much everything spot on there. Weapon balance is the best it's ever been. I think with mechanics changing, we'll see that. That will become more obvious if chain dodging gets nerfed. But there is a point I want to make, because there are a lot of people mentioning it specifically because they know, like, I'm a Scythe player. Dare I say, the Scythe player.
I agree. You know, there's not many people can contest that.
Yeah. Sorry, Debreen. No, they asked me, do I think Scythe is balanced? And I saw a lot of sarcastic, like, comments in the Reddit thread saying, oh, of course it's unbalanced, it's so ridiculous. I'm going to say something that will probably annoy a lot of you. I think Scythe is balanced. I think what Scythe does is unique and new, and people have not they've not even tried to develop counterplay for it. If we look at Scythe, okay, when Scythe was first released, when I first saw it on the dev streams, even when I tried it at BCX, the first thing I thought is, you know, float was a big issue at the time, was this weapon is just made of anti-airs. This weapon is like 5 different anti-airs, Sare anti-airs, Neutralite anti-airs, Downlight even anti-airs at range. The whole weapon is designed around the idea of beating floaty play and being able to punish it, unlike any other weapon can, and it does exactly that. Now, what's everyone doing? They're floating, they're jumping, they're spacing, you know, like, people move around in the game at the moment at mid and high level, using primarily chain dodging and jumping. There's very little horizontal spacing, like dash dancing type stuff. You don't see much of that. And that's frankly Scythe's weakest point. There's so much you can exploit about Scythe, but people are too busy abusing other mechanics to flex and really look into how they could go about dealing with the weapon. As for like its strength, I think it's fair to say that maybe it is on the stronger side, and there are small tweaks you could make to it. But the idea that the weapon is inherently broken is ridiculous. No one's even like attempted proper counterplay to it. It doesn't have ridiculous frame data. It has like average frame data, not much better than swords. I would like, okay, yeah, maybe you can nerf recovery that kills really early still.
Yeah.
Like it could be great off stage. There are small things like that I'd agree on. Is the weapon ridiculously broken? Way better than every other weapon? No. There was a big thing on Twitter of people saying, what's the point of playing the game when Scythe and Guitars are 10 times better than every other weapon? Ridiculous. That's just not true. It's not true. People are getting too lazy and I don't know, like they're not playing the game. You can do so much.
I mean, if you looked when Scythe got released, I was actually up at the time. It's quite late for us. We have the same time zone. So if you were up at that time, everyone was saying Scythe is completely garbage, you know. It has no true combos. And then there were some guys who made like some cool strings. They're like, it's cool, but it's a string, you know. And then, you know, here we are, and the only thing that's been done is nerfs. So
Yeah,
I mean, I think that the Brawlhalla community goes on this thing that they just bandwagon, you know?
Yeah, the only thing that's consistent about the Brawlhalla community is how consistently how consistently they change their mind. Everything is overpowered until it's not, and it's the same the other way around. It's so fickle, you know?
I mean,
Whereas no one's actually putting work in to develop strategies to beat it. Because, I don't know, they sort of feel like they shouldn't have to, I think, and that's part of the reason, like, that's kind of a oh god. That's like a philosophical clash between the idea that the game should be accessible and everyone should be able to play it, but also it needs to be balanced and interesting. That's another thing. Scythe, in my opinion, is the best design weapon in the game.
yeah, it's fresh.
Yeah, it's fresh. It's really well designed from where are its weaknesses, where are its strengths. What can it do? The whole new system. I've never had more fun with a weapon. I think, genuinely, it's the best design weapon in the game, and it will be for quite a while. I think looking at Scythe, we should go back and rework some of the older weapons. I think some need to stay the same. Like sword is always going to be simple, and it should be. That's sword. But other weapons like axe, I think you could go back and you could make them so much better in light of what we see with Scythe and how fun Scythe is. But yeah, all right, that's all I'm going to say on like weapon balance, because you can go around in circles forever, you know. With the game's patched every week. True. Sometimes there's no point complaining.
I mean, but it is true. I feel like it's a big problem with the community right now is that we just go on these bandwagons, and if someone, I remember like everything just goes around in a circle. Like gauntlets suck, and then
yes.
and then sidelight recovery. True, gauntlets are fucking OP, dude. I don't want to play this game until they get fixed. So we just keep going on these circles again, you know?
The court of public opinion. Really what it comes down to is the, like, people... It's a really weird issue and such a big one, and it's not something that you can point to and say, this is where it is, but it's this issue between, like, casuals versus competitive, and I don't mean to pit them against each other, like, say that they should fight. I'm saying, how do you balance for both? If things should be easy to do, why can't I counter Scythe? You know?
Exactly. That's a great point.
Yeah. Well, why the competitive mindset, the mindset about like a high-level player, is always going to be let's find a counter. You know, they don't even begin to think about balance, like looking for nerfs or buffs, until 2-3 weeks down when they've actually exhausted all their options. They always assume, and you should always assume as well, unless it's like doggedly obvious otherwise, that you can counter anything, and that's the only way that you will ever counter anything, really. Like counter everything, I suppose. No, you should assume you should assume you can counter everything, and that's the only way you'll be able to counter anything.
I guess with all of this, we kind of just answered all the Reddit questions about weapon balance. So the weapon balance it's as good as ever been, you know. I think that's the point we got to, right?
Yeah. It comes down to the old thing, you know, just adapt.
Yeah. I guess it's true. You know. Let's skip this chapter because you know. We're going on a circle here.
It could go forever.
It could honestly go forever. So character balance is another thing I want to point out because you know I've heard opinions about everything. You know, there was someone on Reddit that actually asked, "Is there any character?" Let me go ahead and say his name. He gets a little shout out here. S-I underscore
It's
R.
just unpronounceable.
Unpronounceable, actually. Goddamn. So he says, what is a legend that you think could not be valuable in tournament play?
In 1v1, I've had this opinion for quite a while. It's Queen Nai. I think she does really well against bad players, but the speed differential, like the 3 speed, or even 4 if you stance it up, actually makes it slightly more viable. But even then, it's not. You're pretty like the expected value is pretty low. Lucian being insanely popular makes Nai completely unviable because the Lucian can always just run away.
Yeah.
You hit them and you run away, and you hit them and you run away, and you time them out 8 minutes, right? But it's tournament. There's nothing. You can't just say, "Oh, that's unfair." It's unfortunate, but if you need to get through a Nai in tournament, guys, you can. Like, I'm not saying you should, but the option's there. Pick Lucian and run away for 8 minutes.
I hope
So
Try isn't
yeah.
watching this.
But yeah,
about
pretty much
Ogrim
it.
also, there was another great guy on the Reddit post. Thank you, by the way, to all the people who wrote at the Reddit post. What do you think about Ogrims with all the changes to axe, to the buffs, to lower decks?
Yeah.
What do you think about Ogrim right now?
I think Ogrims would be in a great place if it weren't for the fact that both his weapons suffer in the chain dodge meta. I think as a character, like, his stats are amazing, and his weapons are pretty good, right? They're average, they're fine, but they're both bad against chain dodge, so you're going to have a hard time. That's basically it.
A thing I actually want to touch on, and oh my god, that's so lucky, because you just got the character I was about to jump into, which is Ember. You know, I'm a big fan of Ember. There's a lot of people who still play Ember after all this time. Do you think her
Not me.
6 are bad?
No, not at all.
Do you think
And
they
I'll
need
demonstrate.
buffs?
I would say that you could buff Bow Neutral Sig Force, and that's it. That's all that needs buffing. Even then, Bow Neutral Sig is probably the second best anti-air in the game. It's this Sig. It's underused massively, just from a utility perspective. It doesn't matter how, like, that it doesn't kill if the Sig is as good as a light attack, and it really is. For those who don't know, I started out as an Ember main. When I first started the game was when Ember was released. And like, I have my highest level legend is still Ember, and her Sig, the only Sig that is actually bad is this Sig, is the Qatar neutral Sig. Yeah, it's you can find uses for it, but you can also find other things that does the same job for probably less risk. Unless you're styling, just stay away from this Sig. The rest are all good. This is useful. Like, it's, you know, the jump, right? You see how the wolf jumps? It goes over spear neutral light. It goes over sword down light. It can be used at ranges so it just goes over all grounded combo starters. It will go over side light.
We're gonna test
will
that
just
right now.
completely
Okay,
beat
never
side
mind. I would have saw that. But so about this, all right? Do you think? All right, there we go. So do you think anything other than the SIGs explain Ember's low win rate? Because there was actually someone on the Reddit post who asked this.
I see. That's a really good question. Yeah, no one has got the correct mentality to play her, I think. And I'm not saying that as in, like, it's not a small thing. I think she's really difficult to play. But low defense with 2 short-range weapons is difficult. It's like, that is inherently just bad. Your stats and your weapons are working against each other. I mean, you could argue that if you're playing, like, super aggressive, comboing people and hitting them all the time, high force, high movement speed, high dex, like, you could argue that works together, but the low defense completely counteracts all of that. The low defense with the 2 short-range weapons, the character's battling against itself a lot of the time, and to manage that battle, you have to have, like, the perfectly balanced mindset. You have to be so zen, where you're like taking all the opportunities, but at the same time not risking as, like, so much. And I think she's just insanely difficult, and I respect people for trying to play her. I think that they often pigeonhole themselves, though. They say, "Oh, I'm going to kill everyone with these awesome combos and super aggression." It's like, no, that's not going to work. You're going to be like, you're making yourself into a low tier if you do that. But I think I think she's good. She's strong. Just the mindset needed to play her is very delicate.
All right. I think that is all. So you think all characters are balanced? Even Azov doesn't need a buff?
No, I don't think all characters are balanced at all. But again, I think there are specific SIGs you can point to and say, okay, you could buff that, or you could nerf that.
You know what I was thinking about? Like, right now I'm also playing Nyx, which also goes to the point. Wait, let me pick up a scythe real quick. Don't you think this is like Azov side axe, just better?
No, it's not. Ooh, maybe.
Kinda
No,
is!
The horizontal reach on the ground is not as good.
Yeah.
But And I don't know. I don't know Azoth. Azoth is my lowest level legend, so it's kind of hard for me to compare.
I actually play a lot of Azoth, and I think like they did a good work on the bow sigs. I think they're really nice right now. But the axe sigs are kind of like unusable except for the neutral. That's like an anti-air.
The down sig's pretty fast. I always see people like
I mean,
always struggle to deal with that.
I mean, it's not that it's fast. It's the fact that it like bounces you away, so people can't really. It's like Ember down guitar. But yeah, so with all this thing, another question about characters, which will probably be the last one since I don't really like going on topics forever.
Yeah.
What do you think about deck-centered characters? You're known for playing Vrax. That's great recovery right there. Please do not nerf it. So you were known for playing Vrax and BCX. We had a Koji meta. We had we had Cassidy is also a pretty good character. Hammer high decks cannot go wrong. So what do you think these characters stand in the meta?
Well, we had a huge dex rework, didn't we?
Yeah.
The stat changes changed pretty much everything. I would say Koji is like average now. Cassidy as well is just slightly above average. Vrax is average. Dex took a hit. I mean, literally, the stance changes. Like when they added stances, that was not the biggest change to the game. The biggest change was how they reworked stats. And I have a video about this on my YouTube channel. If you want to go check that out. But in short, every character below 5 dex was buffed, and every character above 5 dex was nerfed. It's pretty much as simple as that. Everything's squished together. If you want to go for dex, you have to. Oh god, that skin.
Beautiful.
You have to know what your like. Dex can still be good, but you have to do your research because some dex differences, like some dex stats for some weapons, don't make a very big difference whatsoever, and some make a very big difference. So, I mean, do your research. If you don't know already, Debreen did an amazing Google document that he did by himself, right? Where he listed the frame data, the differences in frame data for each weapon per dex point. And if you want to know whether to take dex or not with your stance, either watch my video on the topic or check out Debreen's Google Doc, which my video references anyway.
Yeah, whenever people ask me about decks, I just point them straight to your video. It's a really well-made video. I'll put that in the description down below in the YouTube video.
Thank you very much. I mean, you can cut out the middleman and just use the document yourself if you want. It's on Debreen's Twitter, which actually is linked to in the description of my video. So,
but your video kind of helps the people who can really analyze it just go a little bit better,
Oh, thank you very much.
But you kind of strayed away from the strayer. You kind of didn't really answer the question though. What about Koji? Do you think he's still strong? Do you think he's like there are people do what he does just better?
I think I mean that is part of it. There are people. I would pick Otori over Koji if I wanted sword. If I wanted bow, I would pick Diana over Koji. Is Koji viable? Yes, but is he the strongest? No. I mean, he's still viable. That's why I'd say he's the definition of mid-tier. Good, but if you take any particular part of him, there is something better out there. If you were only looking for that particular part in your character, and the same is true for Vrax. Though I think Vrax's guns are one of the only ones that can really keep up with the chain dodge meta. Cassidy, the lack of movement speed makes her kind of just pretty much a hammer character. Only Debreen likes playing Cassidy's guns, and Debreen's a madman. So I think that.
I guess that's all. I guess that's all for weapons. I actually had a question in mind, but it kind of slipped over my head while I was listening to the explanation.
How are you so awesome?
Okay, there was a decent question. This is a topic I like talking about because, first of all, there's actually 2 questions for this. Do you think there is a reason for Bodvar falling out of flavor?
Yeah. I mean, Sword got nerfed a lot.
Alright, that's a fair point. But Hammer is strong.
People learned better characters. Everyone main Bodvar, because Sword was overpowered, and Hammer was good. Then Koji came out. Everyone main Koji, because Koji was Bodvar, but better. And then people just learned other stuff. Guitars became popular. People learned Azuri instead of going back to Bodvar. People just moved on. I think there was this is more of a North American thing because Europe has never really been that Bodvari. So I can't speak 100% to this, but I think that people just got over Bodvar. They stopped getting they either found other things, because obviously every now and then, like every month, we get a new legend. People that were playing Brawlhalla previously, all of them, like a lot of them, move over to newer legends they like more. Like Ragnar, a lot of Brawlhalla players may move over to Ragnar because he's strong. They don't really care who they play. They just want to pick someone who's good and versatile. So yeah, I think there's like loads of reasons, but it's more so it was like the amount of Brawlhalla players was super exaggerated at the time because Sword was so broken.
I guess he was easy to pick up.
Yeah,
and he was exactly what people are looking for.
He's the Mario of the game as well.
Yeah.
If you don't know what to pick, people just thought, okay, I guess I'll just pick Brawlhalla. He's on the front of the game. He must be good.
You just answered that question better than I thought anyone could, because you actually made some really good points. But the other question I wanted to ask was, like, do you think there is a favorite stat? And do not say speed, because I know you and I are huge speed fans, but I don't think speed is that good.
I think speed is really good.
Do you think it's the best?
Yeah. I think having a speed advantage can be exploited, and it kind of scales with your skill, though. Speed scales with your skill. As for because if you have a speed advantage and you know how to abuse that and push that, then it's a really good stat. If you don't, it's dead. It's useless. And someone who can play better but is much slower will just outplay you. Oh. Aside from that, I don't know. Force is pretty good. Force is really good if you have kill sigs. They're all even. It seems kind of benign question. Everyone has 4 stats. There's no one who has only 1 stat.
Actually, a really good question came to mind. What do you think of Teros? All right,
Teros?
Teros is being like after the down sig thing. It's been a thing for so long. So I was kind of surprised people just thought of it because Multi did it. But it's been like a huge topic of discussion, and a lot of people have kind of like flocked towards Teros for that combo alone. What do you think?
Okay, this ties into what I said earlier, but it kind of helps me expand upon it, which is really good. But Teros was buffed massively in every way possible by the stat changes. His dex was improved, like his overall frame data for his weapons was improved. They changed how force worked so that force gives you more damage than kill power, but he still had really high kill power sigs. So he could now put on damage much faster, which made the high variable force of his sigs even more useful. And his 2 weapons, he has 2 high variable force weapons. Hammer and axe will kill you with axe. Like, their Sair is strong enough to kill you quite early. So the force buffs were huge for him. Now, every hit he does, you just take that little bit more damage. His speed is, got slightly buffed, I think. And his dex got buffed. So, all these straight buffs, plus the damage and kill power sig thing, made him really strong. He wasn't that bad before, he just wasn't really up to par. And now he has some things that you can do that are just insane, 3 hits and 3 downlight down sigs and they're red.
Yeah, I think it's like 28 damage or something. I think it's a bit more, actually. 28 is the raw damage of the sig.
Yeah, but it's literally just every single hit you do does more damage now because force offers more damage than kill power. Because kill power that doesn't kill is not useful. It makes it harder to combo. It can set up edge guards, but it's not that big of a difference. It's literally just every hit you do would be harder to combo off. So they're taking that away from his attacks. So his attacks send people less far initially, but give more damage is just a straight buff, a huge buff that's not too obvious.
Alright, so next topic. So character thing, over.
Whoa.
Next topic I want to do is the chain dodging / dodging,
Not like this.
Yeah, this.
Not like... No, I kind of already touched upon it, so I guess we can keep it short.
Yeah, do you think chain dodging obviously changes, so... But do you think, the speed dodge after a hit should be removed? Because I personally think that's a really cool addition to the game, and it makes it more fast-paced.
No. I think chain dodging, if you could only do it after a hit, would be fine. That's not really what anyone's complaining about. I think chain dodging, what it's affected mostly is the neutral game, before anyone's been able to land a hit. Combos and stuff are still happening, really, and being, that's, if it weren't for combos, long 0 to deaths, Brawlhalla Resource would be in trouble, At the moment, we see people take ages to hit each other, but when one of them hits the other one, they kill them. They kill them in a long combo. So I would absolutely keep that. But the issue with chain dodging is in the neutral before anyone's hit anyone else.
So I guess that is the dodging part. So if you're unhappy with all this, do you have any fixes you could suggest?
Yeah.
Not only about the dodging, by the way, about characters and stuff, but most of that is just patching, really.
Yeah, it's just patching, changing small damage numbers on SIGs, recovery times and stuff. Like, as for specifically the dodges, there's tons of issues. It's easy to say, why don't they just do this? Why don't they just do that? And the reason is because they are balancing that, again, the accessibility to balance, like, 50-50. They want to make sure both are kept intact. They want competitive balance, but they want accessibility in the game.
Yeah, not to mention, like, every change you do kind of always has back changes, you know? You never expect something to change. Like, the chain dodging was like, oh, it's cool and stuff, but then neutral game just kind of became so slow, and it was supposed to be an aggressive tool.
That's a really good point, actually, because one of the biggest things that people were saying is, oh, why haven't they added 6 breaking chain dodging yet? Why hasn't that not been added? And all I could think was that's the worst thing they could ever possibly do. And that's because you're band-aid fixing a change that turned out to be problematic due to lack of testing, chain dodging, right? It was in test features for a week, with another completely new mechanic without exploring the backlash, the issues it could cause, without proper testing 1 week. So the people saying that you should just chuck 6 breaking chain dodging in, I mean, it's been more than a week now, and I still disagree with it. But at the time, it was crazy that people were saying that. Like, no, do not patch over a bad mechanic with what could potentially be another bad mechanic. So, yeah.
That term is really good. Like, the band-aiding is something we've seen over the course of these updates. Trying to fix big issues by adding new flashy features, and usually it just kind of makes for more issues.
Yeah, I think, like, some of the best changes in the game, like, in the recent months, were the jump nerfs. It was just 2 frames here, 4 frames there. Like, 2-frame jump starts.
A huge difference.
Yeah, and the thing is that kind of change felt good, in my opinion. Like, it took some getting used to, but once you were used to it, now your jumps had, like, a feeling of distinction, you know? Like, there wasn't just one, like, you weren't just sort of floating and flying. You jump, and it really feels like you're jumping and hopping at, like, specific heights. So I think, like, changes like that were the most impactful and well-received.
All right. Now on to some more, personal questions.
Yeah.
There's a lot of this thing, we both stream, so we both get a bit of this. The newer players come into streams and they always ask, like, what would you recommend that I do to get better at the game? Do you have any, like, secret Ephi strategy to get better at the game, or do you just...
For a completely new player?
I mean, if you just say play the game, that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is, like, for the first 20 hours or so, just play the game. Like, it's been said, and you'll hear that from pretty much everyone if you ask, is at the beginning, it's more about understanding what your fingers are doing compared to, like, and how that relates to what's happening on the screen. That just goes without saying, is just play the game to begin with. Play it a lot. Enjoy it. Have fun. Don't jump straight into, like, being competitive and worrying about losing and stuff. Like, just chill out and absorb the game a little bit. Because once that's all out the way, if you start straight away trying to learn and get better and beat people, you're gonna have a hard time because you're stuck wanting to make changes, but you don't even have, like, the basic stuff down. So you're gonna fight against yourself as well as trying to get better, and that's gonna hurt you, like, in the long run. It's more like, that's probably one of the main reasons that people just get really pissed off and quit, which is sad. We don't want to see that happen. We want people to enjoy themselves. So enjoy yourself to begin with. If you want to get competitive after that, then, I mean, that's a slightly different question.
Go ahead.
Shall I try answering that one?
Which one? Sorry.
Like, what's the first step to getting competitive?
All right,
if you've played the game for, like, you could, like, some people have played for 500 hours and they're still gold and they've never thought about actually getting competitive. And that's fine, your hour count really doesn't matter. I get a lot of people asking me, am I this good? Like, am I good enough for X amount of hours? It doesn't matter. Like, if you're competitive, like, things, when you start becoming competitive, it will change regardless of how many hours you played. I think the main thing is just opening your ears and shutting out your ego. Understand you're bad and stop listening to yourself. Like, if something happens, you shouldn't expect to know the answer. If you knew the answer, and it's such a murky issue because it's like psychology. It's learning how to learn. But I would say once your ego's out the way and you're not afraid to lose and you accept that you're not very good right now, it's much easier to take in new information. And that can be basic stuff. It could be forcing yourself to keep track of how many jumps you have. Understanding that you can't beat jump sword Sair with jump guitar Sair. You know, every little thing, it just becomes that much easier to accept once your ego's out of the way.
Yeah, I see a lot of people just running their heads into like, and make it. I think one of the better things to do to get better is like stop making excuses to why you're losing.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's exactly it. If you're making excuses, why are you making excuses? I mean, is your pride hurt?
It comes back to that Scythe issue, you know? People blame their losses on, oh, you know, Scythe is so broken, I can't beat this. But, like, you cannot beat it because, you know, the other player was kind of better than you and kind of abused the fact that you weren't, you know, punishing his bad approaches or something.
Yeah, like, you have to be aware that you have agency, you know? Like, saying that you lost because, Scythe is too strong or your weapon is bad, you're removing yourself from the equation, which also removes any chance you have of making a change. Like, you play a part in everything that happens in game with, like, to you. And there's always, even if Scythe is overpowered, there's always something you could have done differently. Also get destroyed.
Yeah.
There's always something you could have done differently. And knowing that, it's not so much about what exactly it is you could have done differently, but the mindset of knowing that there was something. Like, you have to accept that, first of all. And sometimes it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not saying, oh, you should always be able to do something. Sometimes you can't. But you have to know that, like, you have agency. And that's how you get good. People say, how do I get good? It's not something that happens to you. You have agency in it. You have to put the work in so that you, like, make the decisions, like, you make better decisions.
All right. And another question. This also popped up on Reddit, and I thought it was quite an interesting question.
Is it who's your best dev and why is it Chill Penguin?
No.
Who's your favorite dev? No. I love that question.
That comes back. You know, who's your favorite caster? Is it me?
Caster?
Yeah.
Ooh.
This one is a
tough.
spicy one. This one is a spicy one.
That is tough. We got a lot of good casters, you know? I think it has to be Sparky, though. How can it not be Sparky? I met Sparky at PCX, lovely guy, so friendly. Sparky's just great. I think he's probably got the most, like, he's the most talented as well.
I
No
feel
offense
like
to anyone else.
he adds a lot of energy to the cast, which I really
Absolutely,
enjoy.
yeah. He's also just a lovely guy. I mean, that's not really to do with his casting, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't know, you know. Us average plebs that have nothing to do, you know, with cool people like Reese and Ephi, you know, we wouldn't know about this.
No, this is the thing. Anyone who went to BCX probably would have spoken to Sparky, because if you went up and said hi to him, he would have been like, "Oh, hey, dude," even if he had no idea who you were, even if you smelt slightly bad.
That
you know,
does sound like
still say
Sparky.
hi.
That does sound like Sparky.
And he's such a good guy, he'd probably tell you that you smelt bad in a really friendly, nice way.
You don't smell the best today, dude. Something like that, you know.
He'd do it. We can't do it. We aren't Sparky. We don't have the skill.
Yeah.
He'd make you feel good about the fact that you smell bad. Like, you could smell better tomorrow, my dude. Don't worry about it.
Dude, that does sound like Sparky. Alright, so the question I was gonna jump into before I had this great idea is what do you think helps people not tell? Do you have any, like, special thing?
Yeah.
Of course, you know, if you get this far, you probably have learned how to not tell. How do you not tell from all the losses, all the salt?
It changes, right? It changes for everyone. That's, like, the first thing. So it's kind of hard to answer. I can't speak for everyone. I can only speak for myself, and I'm sure there are people who have felt the same way. So to you, like, I hope this helps. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. Like, good luck. Because, I mean, tilting is a personal thing, you know? It's a very personal thing. And that's what's so interesting, because I think... Okay, here's what I'll say. If you're tilting, you are angry, like, you have a problem, you're angry about something, don't tell yourself that it's just a game. Don't say... Like, a lot of people might say that, like, dude, calm down, it's just a game. You don't need to necessarily say that to yourself. I think that can actually make it worse sometimes, because you're saying, oh, well, why am I getting mad over a game? You know, it turns into, like, a pretty bad cycle. I think one of the things that can really help is understanding that you do take it seriously, accepting that, and then if you take it seriously, if you're accepting that you take it seriously, what can you do better? Like, why you can start to question it more. You can start to see more closely. Like, often I realize that if I'm tilting and I'm getting pissed off, I realize that it's because, like, very commonly, it's because I'm just making a simple mistake that I'd forgotten that I was making. You know, like, I'm losing to someone who I used to know how to be, and then I just need to sit back and think for a second, and when I do, it's suddenly so much easier, and there's no tilt involved. It's just things, things happen, and it goes much better for me. So I think, yeah, don't say you're stupid for getting mad. We get mad because we care most of the time. Work out what you care. I mean, some people are just really heckin' like egotistical, and that's that's something you have to deal with separately, and like that's fine. Accept it.
My God. Well, can I just talk? Get absolutely shit on. All right, go ahead.
Oh my God. It's fine. I'm sure there's like a couple of clips already of the combos I've done on you. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, you're gonna have everyone has issues. It's personal, and don't like take them as seriously as anything else. Because it is like, even though it's just a game, you getting angry is a serious thing. You don't want to be angry, like in game, out of game, whatever. Like, don't dismiss it.
So TLDR, learn from your mistakes, accept that you're angry and that you do take the game as not only a fun thing, but you also want to be successful in. And basically just try to learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
Alright, some anonymous question here. What products do you use in your hair, Ephi? I'm really interested in having a hair
see,
such
anonymous. Yes. Tresemme. I don't know if I should be shilling. Let me just check that Reason doesn't have like a brand deal with shampoo. Tresemme. That's all I'm gonna say. Tresemme Professional. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it works great.
thank you, anonymous person, for that question. The anonymous person is very happy to know, and will go ahead and purchase some of that Tresemme. And it was absolutely not Coup Dash. Dash on Reddit, but you know.
No, you can get these amazing like extra sized bottles that just last for freaking months. And I just started using them when I was at uni. You just buy like shampoo like twice a year. That sounds gross, even though it shouldn't.
It shouldn't.
Yeah.
So all right.
Sparky wouldn't call it gross. Sorry.
What hair is he washing with the
Sparky
shampoo?
loves me.
Everyone loves you, Ephi. You know that's why I invited you, because you're the only one who would hang out with a guy like me. I mean, because you're my friend. Because you're a great gamer. All right. So, I guess closing thoughts. Is there anything you would like to say? You know, thank someone, give tips to newer players, something like that.
Damn, dude. Well, I mean, I have to shill, obviously. Thank you to Reason. Ooh, that's what I can do. Is I can say that, for those of you who don't know, unfortunately, Lance left Reason. He's no longer with us. Still, like, all on good terms. Everything's great. Still good friends with him. But that means that this week we will be announcing a new Reason player.
Is it
and
me?
my new 2v2 teammate, and it could very well be. Who knows?
It's not me.
It could be any of you. But yeah, that's something to look forward to.
I'm glad we're seeing Reason Mindfrag really soon.
Don't even.
Is it Reason Strayer?
Yes, Memoria. Yes, Strayer. Yeah, Reason Strayer. It actually is. That's the sad thing.
It's I just realized who it is.
No.
All right, I'm not gonna say it. I want to keep it on the down low.
That's. But yeah. I mean, there's that to look forward to. I'll be playing in Brawl League 2v2 with them on Friday. So, yep. Shoutouts to Reason. Shoutouts to you for bringing me on here.
Hey, thank you.
Talked a lot. My voice is dying.
Yeah,
Hope everyone enjoyed. Yeah.
You know, if you could suggest anyone to be here for the next time, who would you suggest? Personal question.
Ooh.
I was thinking Dayaku, but I feel like you'd spit in my face because we have like the small
You save
beef.
that for the like 100 episode special, 10 episode special.
What eyebrow
get Dayaku
conditioner
on
do you use, Dayaku? The people want to know.
What steroids? I don't know. I'm not going to divulge anything, but you know, all I'm going to say is Daiku's stacked now. Like, holy crap. The guy is like hustling. He's huge. But no, not Daiku. You have to save him for like a subscriber special.
Subscriber, like anyone's gonna subscribe to this loser now. So if you could suggest someone, you think Lands would be cool with coming here?
Nah, you'll be too much like me. We're like the same person. I would say, you know, I'd say someone like super, like someone who you expect to be super like quiet, but they're actually like pretty goofy. I'd say Cake.
Oh, that one is for me, dude. Cake. I'm a small and like in my heart, Cake was the first player that I looked up to when I was climbing up.
Tell him that, and then get him on here.
Get him on here. So I guess that is all. Go ahead and give the people, you know, the Twitch and the YouTube, your social media,
okay.
and we're good to go.
twitch.tv/FEBL. I think that's also the same for my Twitter and my YouTube. So there you go. It's just FEBL everywhere. Check it out. I make videos sometimes. I will make more videos, I swear. I streamed today. I'll be streaming tomorrow. And thank you very much.
Alright, thank you so much for coming, Ephi. Huge shout outs to you for being such a great guy and just coming here, giving your old friend a chat. But yeah, thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.
Alright, see you soon, dude. Take care.
Alright, that was the first Mooncast. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Everyone watching on Twitch, thank you guys so much for watching through the whole process. And everyone watching the VODs on YouTube or Twitch, make sure you subscribe if you're on Twitch, and make sure you follow if you're, I mean subscribe if you're on YouTube and follow if you're on Twitch. We'll be trying to put these out every week, so if you guys have any ideas, you guys can just comment it on YouTube, or if you guys are watching my Twitch, you guys can just send it on the chat. But thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and see you guys on the next Mooncast. I am Koo, and thank you all so much.